Wonder Gem here. Klein.
Here.
Steffes.
Here.
Gardine.
Here.
Palmer. Kahan.
Here.
Highbar.
Here. Thank you. Please note, as a courtesy to members of the audience, the Board of Education, please silence your cell phone. Public will only be able to speak during public comment if signed up, and I have 2 forms. Any others? Mr. Merkel. All right, thank you. First point of business, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. Reports agenda. Start with Amy.
So Parks and Recs department, pretty much the same as what I said last time with a lot of different improvements. I feel like the Parks and Recs and the tree program and school, so we have an Arbor Day celebration dedicating the rain garden. Very excited about that on Arbor Day. And then the other thing is that the Parks and Recs is always looking for what are things that are important to our community. So what are ways that we can improve Parks and Recs? So we have a new master plan coming up. We're just finishing up the 10-year master plan. And so people are looking into what's the next thing that we would love to see. So like, for instance, Tim Buck always says, we need an ice rink. So, and I'm behind him on that one. So I do, if you ever, as the community, want to come and give your opinions or just see what the Parks and Recreation Board does, please feel free to come. It's the 4th Wednesday of every month. So it's the Department of Public Works. It was fun, great spring break for everybody. It was nice to see all the G's driving down to Florida and then all the G's driving back up from Florida. So that was, we would spot several actually. This Thursday starts Hairspray. So if anyone wants to go see Hairspray. And then also in the arts next week, we have Jazz Night on the 25th. And then we have the Art and Chocolate Walk, which always features our jazz players. They're going to be playing at Art and Chocolate Walk. And then I just want to give a shout out to spring sports because we had track meet with East Kentwood, and then there was soccer getting ready, and there was lacrosse, and there was I mean, just everything was going on at once. It was an explosion of kids. And I had a friend that came to pick up her son from lacrosse, and she said, I just love Grandville on these days. I'm so proud of how much we do and how awesome it is to just have everything full. So that's it.
Great, thank you. Joe?
Yes, echo that. Track season begins. So the 3 hours of waiting for 30 seconds of running, is just a blast, but it's all good. I talked about in the last meeting, there was a reunification process going for events that happen at school, how we reunify parents with children or scholars. There is actually a demonstration or an exercise coming up April 24th through Kent ISD. I'll be happy to send everyone an invite for that, so you can go and see what it's like in action. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Bob?
Nothing.
Kim?
It was a pleasure to be at the McCall Conference, the Michigan Association Computer Users and Learning Conference, and get a chance to see many Grandville educators down there. I was working, but got to greet several of them in the booth and also see them in sessions wandering around, and got a lot of great ideas from them, one of which was from Chris Groenhout, who is our aeronautics teacher and instructional specialist, who stopped by the booth just to talk to me about the aviation program. This Friday we have a CT Aviation board meeting, which is a group of folks in the community that are invested into the aviation space, and Chris organizes it and gets all sorts of wonderful people from around the West Michigan area to come together and talk about future careers in aviation and the way they can connect to our students here at Grandville. And it's just a really neat experience that they've had. One of the things that he pointed out to me were other opportunities in aviation schools in Michigan. My son's currently enrolled at Western because of all the great programming here in West Michigan, but he said, you really got to go look at Northwestern Michigan College. So we took some time and went up there last week. And because of the matriculation agreements we have, the other programs we have through KCTC, our AP courses, he'll walk into that school a year ahead of everything and be done with school potentially in 1 year.
Wow.
With a degree in aviation, flying towards a commercial license. That's amazing. And we looked at the savings in that as compared to going other places like Embry-Riddle, highly esteemed. But we talked to pilots. There's a great parent on the CTE board, Elizabeth Delosier. Her son's also in both programs, aeronautics and KCTC, and has been polling pilots around the country, and they all said it's a great program, and programs like yours that feed to them are the key to that success too. So kudos again to our high school and to our board for supporting that, to our community for supporting career and technical education as well as AP. This is really cool to see the culmination of it all coming together, and also being an affordable pathway to futures. So I'm really seeing that at home, but also as an opportunity through that board. So I'll pass that along, Mr. Langto, or I'll tell him on Friday. It was really cool to see. Excited about Hairspray coming up. Also, the Drumline competed last week at States and did quite well. So I'm really proud of them. We always have wonderful things in the music program, but that was a new one that we just instituted in the last 2 years, and for the second time they received high marks at the state, so kudos to them. I love track season. I'll sit out there for 4 hours to watch a 30-second race any day. I don't know what it is. There's something about the spirit of it. I just love that individual, compete against yourself, but also building towards a team, and you always see other schools rooting for other schools through that process. So it's one of my favorite sports because of that. And they really accept the underdogs in the sport and encourage them on too. So that's, being a non-competitive, non-athletic person myself, that's why I really appreciate it too. Robotics, we stayed back from Florida and all the spring break fun to have other kinds of fun. Spent a lot of time with robotics over spring break. They had a great showing in the last 2 weeks at Grand Valley State University, and then here at East Kentwood, and one of the teams went on to states, so kudos to Team 244, who went on to states and now are going on to Worlds. So they're raising money for that right now. If you have cans, they're up there sorting cans tonight. Please drop off cans at the drop-off location off of Canal in front of the new middle school and robotics entrance, because they can use all the support they can get getting down to Texas for Worlds in like 2 short weeks. And I think that was all that I had.
All right, great, thank you. Brett?
I would just add on to what Amy and Kim had to say, on starting with the AP credits. I mean, I've seen that with my older son now at Grand Valley. He's scheduling his classes next year, and can graduate next year if he wants to.
Yeah.
And that's in 3 years instead of 4 years, so that's a huge savings. I mean, he's going to stay longer, but he has the ability to graduate in 3 years instead of 4, which is a huge advantage.
Can I add one thing onto that too? You make me think of, I wanted to say, is that when we were up there, the president of the college made a point to stop by and say hello. They walked us around personally. Everything was really cool. But he said the Michigan Reconnect program has been extended to age 21. I think this is really important for families to hear, because a lot of us had graduates in 2020 who are now 21, and a lot of them kind of floated out into this weird world after the pandemic and fizzled out of school. They didn't have that connection their freshman year. They're extending it down to them. They can go to any community college for free through applying through the Michigan Reconnect program. Sorry, interrupted,
Right.
but I wanted to make
Good
sure
to
to say
know.
that you said that.
All right, and then just adding on what Amy said, just awesome being outside at the high school and seeing all the activity, the parking lot full and the fields full. We've been taking in baseball games and lacrosse games, so that's what we've been up to.
Love it.
Good.
That's it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. So welcome back everybody from spring break. Hope everybody enjoyed their time, a little time away. Bob, you go anywhere?
Nashville.
Nice. It's nice down there.
It is.
Yeah.
It's-
We were down there for
Opry was
a
fun.
birthday party. What's that?
The Opry was fun.
Oh, nice.
Did you go see our Grandville graduates singing down there?
Who's
No,
that?
they were there.
Miles Bailey?
Oh,
Miles?
nice.
Trent?
Nice.
Trent. One of the wonderful Valley boys.
Okay. All right.
I
Fair
get them all
enough.
mixed up.
So welcome back, everybody. We get to that point in the year, right, where it's going to fly by, right? And we're just going to have one thing after another, right? It seems like it's going to come to an end, but it'll go quickly. So that'll be fun. We've got a lot of activities coming up. And, so you started sharing those, so thank you. A lot of stuff already, happening at the high school. We had M-Step, last week? We got PSAT, SAT this week. Or tomorrow, right? Yeah, geez. So the kids are all gearing up for that, so that'd be fun. Looking forward to that, right, Adam? All right, fair enough. It's fun to see all the college decisions come in on Instagram, right? With all the kids choosing where they're going to go and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, hairspray this weekend. So it was fun. My son is involved in the theater, and he does a lot of the stage crew activities. And he mentioned to me last night when he came home, his dad, he says, it's incredible how far we've come in our productions over the last 3 years. and how many things we're able to do now, especially with some of the technology we have, and particularly like the projector, and the things we're able to do. So he said he just, so for him to notice that as a junior, he thought that was pretty cool about everything that we're able to do. So I never even thought about it, but he thinks it's pretty cool. We talked a little bit about band, the drumline, yes, but then Winter Winds took championship yesterday, right? The MAPA, so great for them. Yeah, and just looking forward to the rest of the year as we go. So that's all I have. Roger, what do you have?
Great summary as usual. Well, what I have is we have our annual presentation regarding the dog den, and we have some awesome people here who do an amazing job making sure that that place is always hopping. And so I'm going to turn it over to them.
Hi, my name is Parker Stewart. I'm the business teacher at the high school, and I brought with me 3 of my students today that are not only in my merchandising class, but also help us keep the dog den running and afloat. So they're the ones who are going to be telling us a little bit about the dog den. We have Talon, Bianca, and Jackson. So with that, let's go ahead and start.
Okay, so about the dog den is a student-ran and student-led store, and the merchandising class takes place during our 4th period.
So next we have the dog den team roles. So first we have our teachers, Miss Burrell and Miss Stewart. Miss Burrell helps out directing the kids in the dog den to be professionals, while Miss Stewart helps them be professionals in the classroom. We have our 4 groups, which are the management team, the fashion design team, the marketing team, and the web and finance team. Next we have a video to help you learn a little bit about those teams.
Hi, I'm Val.
And I'm Hayden, and we're part of the marketing team.
On the marketing team, we take pictures and make videos to post on our social media to reach our community and show them our new merchandise.
My name is Ben Anderson. I'm part of the web design and finance group. We sort through invoices when we get new orders, and we take pictures to update our website for Grandville Dog Den.
I'm Sylvia.
And I'm Audra.
And we're on the fashion design team.
On the fashion design team, we look up different designs or prints that we want to put onto some blanks that we find in catalogs, and then they end up going to this company and they make our designs and put them on these blanks, and then that's all the stuff that's in the dog den.
I'm Bianca.
I'm Talon.
And we're managers at the Grandville Dog Den.
As managers, we make sure we have all the inventory we ordered and it's at good quality.
And we also cover shifts for people who are not here.
As you can see on the graph, this is a graph of our monthly net sales over the years. As you can see, 2020 was not our best year. That was COVID year. No one was in the store, no one could buy anything. And then in 2021, we had that huge jump. The demand for dog den apparel was very high since everyone missed out in 2020. And then over the last few years, including this year, it evened itself out. And then here are the net sales yearly. As you can see, the big jump in 2021, and then it evens itself out. And so far we have 9,000-ish.
These are some of our best sellers, and the best sold throwback, I actually went to the store and thrifted that, and it said football of 1987, and this year we just took the idea and changed it up a little bit.
So now we're going to talk about the community connections and student impact. The dog den is very important for kids, students, and the community members alike, like teachers, parents, etc. It not only helps students become aware of professions in the classroom, but also develop relationships with students in the building when helping them pick out merchandise, when buying merchandise, and also the parents in the community. Now, we have a video to help show the student impact.
My name is Bianca, and I'm a manager at the Grandville Dog Den.
I'm Audra, and I'm on the fashion design team in the Grandville Dog.
I'm Ben, and I'm a part of the web and finance team.
What made you want to join merchandising?
My friend recommended this class to me and said it would be a fun thing to do, so I decided to join.
I was in one of Miss Stewart's business classes, and she suggested this class based on the areas in her business class that was good.
I actually thought it was a blended class, so that's why I took it. Turns out it's not, but it's a fun class.
What is your favorite part of merchandising?
My favorite part is being able to create a bunch of clothing items from scratch.
Favorite part of merchandising is being able to create different designs and seeing it really come to life on the clothes and on people at my school.
My favorite part is that it's not structured like a lectured class where you just sit and the teacher lectures to you, but you actually get to move around and be in different spots of the school.
What was the biggest thing you've learned during your time in merchandising?
The biggest thing I learned is how to be a manager and how to run the dog den.
I definitely learned a lot more about professionalism. I learned how to talk more appropriately to adults in a more formal way.
The biggest thing I learned was time management, having to be on class on time, and then also to our shifts on time, and scheduling, like when we need days off.
What is the biggest challenge you have faced while taking merchandising?
The biggest challenge is probably when people aren't here and I have to cover their shifts because all of that lies up to me.
A lot of times we have like a really great idea in our head in the fashion design team, but then when it gets put on like a print, it doesn't really look great, and so we have to go back and fix it.
The biggest challenge has been sorting through invoices, and a part of my job is I have to receive the invoices that we get from orders and sort through them in a binder, and that's what my biggest challenge was sorting through and making all of it nice and neat.
What is one thing you've learned in merchandising that you can use in the future or your everyday life?
One thing that I can use in my everyday life is that this can lead to greater opportunities like getting an internship somewhere.
One thing that I've learned in merchandising that I use pretty much every day is my creativity skills. I've gotten a lot better at also just working with a bunch of people as a team, and that'll help me way later in life in real world jobs when I have to work as one big team.
One thing was that I used this class to make uniforms for my baseball team. My family created a baseball team, and we've been struggling to find uniforms, and so that's what I used through Classic Wear and through the Dog Den, was ordering and designing uniforms for our team, and that has been a very big help in our organization.
And then one way I was mainly affected by taking the class, I early on in the first semester started doing managerial tasks. I early on started making the shift schedules for lunch. And then over time, I've learned that my niche is really just management. And then that also helps me because I'm currently dual enrolled for GRCC in HR management. And then to briefly touch on DECA, we learn the same things that DECA teaches in that class, so it's a really big help.
All right, so now we have our goals for next year. Two of our main goals for next year is number one, a 5% net profit increase from this past year. That is a big one because it shows the progress we've made as a team on the Dog Den. Number two, we have expand on Dog Den opportunities for more events and home games. This includes not only football games or basketball games, but also baseball games, track events, maybe even robotics if we're hosting, wrestling, and try to branch out to some of the other sports we may not have opened up to in the past. So this is a very big goals for us.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions?
I do.
Yeah, of course.
So, looking at your goals for next year, profit growth and expand opportunities, and one of the issues was, see, this is how you can tell whether or not we listen to your presentations. Staffing.
Yeah.
So how deep do you think you can go into just handling an online selection instead of the in-store as well? So unique items. So let's say there's a catalog of unique items that somebody might want embroidered.
Yeah.
Because they always want something, I always want something Joe doesn't have, right?
Absolutely. We are always facing that problem. I walk in the halls and I see someone wearing something and I'm like, we need that back. When did you get that? And they're like, years ago. And we want to bring that back. That's one way we're trying to bring back some previous designs like that and unique things are embroidered is every year we have a throwback football game. And so our hopes next year is to bring back some throwback items that we see, that we used to see in the dog den or at Grandville, some of those specific things that we missed maybe from the 90s or that were really big hits that we see people wear and we go, that's what we want back in the dog den. So that's one way we're gonna try and incorporate some old designs into our next season, but I would be very open to the idea of expanding so people could customize specific things. Right now, that's just not necessarily something our vendor currently does, so we would have to branch out and find someone else who could provide customization upon ordering, but I love the idea of that.
If you're interested, let me know.
Yeah, I'd love to touch base and figure out how to connect with that.
I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
We talked about expanding. Is there any talk of expanding to like the middle school or the new Oakstown building, like bringing product over there and actually open?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm blanking on her last name, but the econ teacher over at the middle school, her first name's Heather. I can't remember her last name. They're working on this space in the middle school that they're hoping that they can incorporate maybe like a prior, like a prep to the merchandising where they can learn simple employee skills or customer service skills. As far as educators, we've had just a few meetings on what would that look like as far as what would the 8th graders want to be prepped with. I think it would be an amazing opportunity for expanding our growth. I know we have a new class that the 8th graders are required to teach that's like financial literacy of some sort. And I think that's a really great connection into this class that we're working toward. That's now required for all 8th graders to take in order to make it through the middle school. And so I think having that basis of financial literacy will be a good guide to tell students, if you enjoyed this class in middle school, you should take merchandising in the high school. Okay. But yes. Other questions?
No. Nice job, guys.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for your time.
All right, anything else? Nope. All right. No old business? Consent action items. Can I get a motion?
Moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Regular action agenda. Oakstown displays. Apologize. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the purchase of 82 classroom displays and wireless display adapters for a total purchase price of $184,857.17. The purchase price includes a $14,000 allowance for display carts, mounting brackets, and cabling. Price is via the Michigan My Deal statewide contract. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Discussion.
And Walt's here to tell us about it.
So as part of the renovation at the Oakstown building to the 5th, 6th building, we are going to replace all of the aging data projector technology that was in the classrooms in that building with 4K 75-inch displays in each classroom on carts. The cart-mounted display gives teachers a lot of flexibility as far as it will provide wireless connectivity for their teacher laptop device. It also has the wireless connectivity for if the student wants to share something on the display, it has that capability as well. And then also it provides teachers flexibility as far as, sometimes teachers will want to rearrange their classroom and say, today I'm going to, have my desk over here and the display over here. So it allows them that flexibility. And display technology has come a long way over the years that I've been at Grandville. So a large cart-mounted display really provides a nice high-resolution, crisp image for teachers to share with their students, and, versus a ceiling-mounted projector where there's bulb replacements and that type of thing that go along with it. So.
Well,
sure.
Is there a need for cameras on these? I mean, are you ever getting to that point where there could be some kind of a Zoom meeting or some kind of a presentation?
Thus far, when teachers have done things like, meet the author type of meeting or something like that, they've utilized the webcam that's built into their laptop, and then because the laptop can wirelessly connect to the display at the front of the classroom or wherever it is, teachers can take their laptop and set it so that that camera can see the students in the classroom, and they can kind of share that way.
Okay.
So we haven't seen a need yet to mount a camera on the cart, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. It's just, monitors are changing so fast, right? Yeah. Every 6 months, you're already outdated, right? It's like a computer. How long do you think these monitors are going to last before you need to upgrade?
Because, I mean, these are 4K, so, that's kind of current display technology. 8K is coming down the road, but, that's, not that's kind of bleeding edge stuff that I don't know that we would want to deploy. These are commercial grade displays. So the vendor that we're working with said these displays are rated to be on 24/7 for a period of 5 years before they would see any pixel degradation or brightness degradation in them. So obviously, hopefully the teachers are not running them 24/7, but they have that longevity capability.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Are these cards specifically made for these?
So these are, when we first started deploying cart-mounted displays in classroom spaces, we wanted to make sure that we had a cart that's stable, has nice, safe legs, that keeps it from tipping over or anything like that. So, we've done some testing, and this is really stable, the best cart solution that we've tested over the time that we've started deploying these.
So these are the same ones we're using in the middle school.
Correct.
And when we made that switch for those middle school teachers, I remember if you reached out and were saying that it was a change for them, just like anything new in technology. I have changes every day. I just had to switch off Google to Microsoft. It's killing me. What are we doing to support that change for teachers who are used to the overhead technology and moving the card around and learning to teach maybe just slightly different than they did before? Yeah,
so one of the feedback items that we've gotten from teaching staff is, an advantage with a projector was you could take that image and project it on a whiteboard, and you could have the teacher go up there and draw and equations, or students go up there and draw. So there's a couple capabilities that we have with the newer system is teachers that have an iPad with an Apple Pencil, they can wirelessly take that image and project it up there, and then use that Apple Pencil to draw and use equations and that kind of thing, and then pass that iPad around to students and let them draw. We are also going to be trialing, and in this purchase are 7 touchscreen displays. So they're just like a standard display. They have that same wireless connectivity capability, but they can have a person go up there and actually touch it and draw just like it would on a normal.
Does that take any extra software to run that?
It does not, actually. The Screen Beam wireless display connectivity has that touchscreen capability built into it. So as long as the display has touchscreen capability, that then automatically passes through the wireless.
So smarter than the smartboard?
Yes, smarter than a smartboard. and that being said, we have trialed smartboards systems in the district. They tend to be, for one, quite pricey. And the feedback that we've gotten is they're very complex, but with that complexity comes with some bugs and things that can interrupt the educational process. So,
what kind of warranty are we getting?
These have a 1-year warranty on them.
1 year.
Yeah.
Do they have any history in how many are returned?
So these are the one step up from the displays that we have at the middle school. We haven't seen any failure rates with the displays. I haven't had any displays fail. I will say, we did look at other brands of displays, for example, Samsung, and some of the other tech people that I communicate with at other school districts, they've seen higher failure rates with Samsung displays than what we've seen with the LG product. So that's one of the reasons why we decided to go with this specific one.
All right. Good. Any other questions? All right, can we do a roll call vote because of the amount?
Klein,
Yes.
Steffes,
Yes.
Gardine,
Yes.
Jahan,
Yes.
Wonder Jim, yes. Highbar.
Yes. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Thanks, Walt. All right, on to the next item. The non-teaching staff laptop refresh. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the purchase of 325 Dell Latitude laptops and 325 Thunderbolt docking stations for a total price of $355,380.75. The purchase price also includes a $5,000 allowance for the purchase of laptop cases. Pricing is via the REMC and AEPA statewide bid list respectively. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
And you can see Walt still standing there. Take her away, Walt.
Still here. On staff laptops, we've kind of established a 5-year refresh cycle for devices for staff and teachers. The devices that we have deployed in the district are kind of divided. We've divided the refresh cycle into two categories. Teacher devices for teachers in the classroom and non-instructional staff, so administrators, office staff, those type of people. This purchase would provide a new laptop for every non-instructional staff person in the district, so all of those office staff, administrators, that type of thing. I did send out a survey to that staff group in the district and kind of get some feedback on what are the features that you're looking for in a replacement device. That survey came back with things like they wanted a device with a large screen. They really wanted a device with a 10-key keyboard on it. I know our teaching staff gave me that feedback and said, when they're entering grades, it's nice to have that 10-key and be able to enter grades quickly. One of the features that the teacher devices currently have that non-instructional staff devices don't have is that touchscreen capability. So I got that feedback as well, that they really like having a laptop with a touchscreen. So this device combines all of those features, as much as we could pack into one device that we saw in that survey feedback we tried to get. This also provides a docking station for staff to connect the device, automatically connects it to the wired network, charges the device when it's connected, and any other USB peripherals, mouse, keyboard, that type of thing automatically connects with a single docking station wire.
So, well, again, I do listen. They said they wanted a bigger screen, but you got a 15. How come you didn't get 17? What's the price difference?
So it was a balance of they wanted something that had a large screen in it, but also wanted that portability. So that was kind of striking a balance between something that, with a 17-inch screen, you tend to get a little bit wider, heavier, that type of thing, but still have a fairly large display, but be pretty thin and portable.
Outside of the classroom, how many regular PCs do we have, desk, units, or is everything notebook now?
Everything is laptop with the exception of computer labs. So things like the CAD lab at the high school, AV labs, where you still need that powerful graphics card to do things like Adobe video editing, that type of stuff.
All right, thanks.
Well, these are all i7, so they're pretty souped up, so.
Yeah, so we did, with things like the wireless display technology that people are connecting to, videos that, for example, the dog den video, being able to make sure stuff like that is smooth and, we want to make sure we had a good processor, and we've also bumped up the memory from, older devices. We had kind of standardized 8 gigs of RAM, a 256 solid state drive. These bump up to 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gigabyte solid state drive. So just kind of bumping up those specs to make sure all of those tasks that staff are doing work smoothly.
I got one more. So we're going with Dell docking stations, not Thunderbolts.
So they're Dell docking stations. Sorry if the language in there was a little confusing, but they're Dell docking stations that use Thunderbolt technology to connect to them.
Oh, okay.
That's the cord.
That's the cord, yeah.
It's the strongest, most stable out there, so yeah, good. All right. Nice.
Any other questions? All right, let's do a roll call vote.
Gardine,
Yes.
Jahan,
Yes.
Steffes?
Yes.
Wonder Jim, yes. Klein?
Yes.
Ibar?
Yes. All right, the motion passes. Thank you, Walt.
Thanks, Walt.
Thanks, all.
All right, next item is discussion of Oakstown Intermediate update.
Yes, so very excited to have with us tonight Brian Mulder and Stacy Bile. You'll recall, I believe it was early last fall, they came in and did a little overview, and we told you we would have them back to talk about progress and how things are going. Very exciting. I know it's interesting, the things that they've designed. This is going to be just an amazing 5th, 6th grade building with a focus on engagement, of course, and we're just very, very excited about it. So I'll turn it over to them, Brian and Stacy.
Well, thank you very much for being here. One quick follow-up here. You talked earlier about the rain garden. We are excited that is on the Oakstown property, and there's 20 trees also going in with that project. And I think we had about 150 kids coming over for that dedication. So that'd be pretty cool and something that we get to do. And that's up by the tennis courts there. So I wanted to add that in there, and excited about our progress. I will tell you, the last 12 months has been a lot. We've been very fortunate to have an unbelievable planning team that we put together for this. We're up to about 11 members on the planning team that we want to make sure we represented every entity of our district. So we have representation of 5th grade teachers, 6th grade teachers, one from every one of our elementary buildings, one representing the arts and music, one representing special ed, and one representing SEL. So that as we start looking and planning, we have covered all those different layers and made sure we've had those voices as a part of our planning. So that's been a real big piece here to get us going. So I have a few reference points here. I'll kind of talk a little bit in between. This one's just exciting. We got a website. It is kind of hard to find some of our stuff in there, but if you go to About Us, that will run you to a slideshow that you'll see here tonight. It'll also run you to frequently asked questions and my contact information for parents that have questions about what's going on. As a side note, coming up here, I believe on April 28th, it is a Sunday night, we're going to do a live Zoom for all parents in the district with incoming 5th and 6th graders to run through a basics of what the building's about. We found with spring, it's so busy, trying to find a weeknight that worked for parents. The more we sampled, the worse it got. So we'll be doing a virtual presentation on a Sunday night, which we would hope allows a lot more moms and dads to be able to sit down together, watch it, listen. We're going to run live Q&A through it so that we can answer as many questions as we can towards the end of it. We actually did one out at Cummings live and in person, and it went over really well and helpful. We just couldn't replicate that at every building with the amount of schedules going on. So, yes, and we will have it recorded, so any parent that does miss it, click on the recording and go watch what they missed. I know that'll be really thrilling and exciting to see and hear, but a good thing there. So one of our priorities here, and this is what our planning team put together, and this is what the original team that put together this idea of Oakstown before it was Oakstown started to put together their goals for the building. And these are the 8 goals that have guided us in all of our work and our frameworks and our setup that have helped us ask the questions that we need to ask to put together a plan. I often reference this. When the middle school left that building, they simply picked up their program and placed it on a new location. We don't have that. Everything that we've done has been from scratch. So we've tried to rebuild every framework so that we have something in place. That way when things come up, questions come up, things that we missed, things that, hey, that went well, let's make it better, we're able to shift left and right with it rather easily, or up and down in what that looks like. And we've had a lot of those over the last probably 8 months in a very good way, but it's helped guide us. And that's those goals, each one takes a different level of precedence. They're not in order, but it's helped guide us and keep us working in the right direction with it. We are a work in progress. You'll see some pictures throughout of kind of October and now. Carpet showed up in the classrooms last week, Thursday and Friday, so they're mid-process on that. You walk into a room now or a hallway and you kind of go, okay, there's a chance. All right, we're going to be ready, which is pretty cool to see. So we're excited about that piece. The playground, I'm sure you've seen that if you drove down Wilson.
I will not name names, but there's been a few people asking if they're pickleball courts. I've had to explain they are not pickleball courts. It is a playground going in. We are putting in a brand new playground. It's going to have a Ninja Warrior style feel to it. We do have a fun game 9-square going on a basketball court. And that green space out front will all be used for our students from a recess standpoint. So when you look at it, this was right after our rains, but you can kind of see it's coming together, and it's looking pretty exciting, pretty fun. And what you can't see in the background is swings. That was a high request we didn't realize was important to our kids until we asked them, and we learned a lot, and swings were important. So we got some swings in there, which is good for us there. So big questions out there is our school day hours. We are going to be on the secondary start time. We will be that first stop, that first drop for buses, and they'll go up to the middle school and high school. We worked very closely with transportation to get that figured out and to make it all happen. Classroom doors will open up. We're going to serve breakfast in the morning. We'll get them in class by 7:40 and get our day started. So it will be an early end to the day. We'll be done at 2:35 with our kids, and we'll be able to get them home early. I'm guessing there'll be some naps and things like that for the first couple weeks, but it'll be in a good way and follow up there. So the good news is our 6th graders have been doing this schedule for band, orchestra, and choir for the last 20 years, so we know it is possible and it does work. As far as the structure goes, this has been a big piece. We're going to have 837 kids there to start day one. We know there's approximately 400 kids per grade level. Something that's been very important to us is, as I show you this pod structure that we're working on, a big thing I want parents and I want everyone to keep in mind is we're keeping that elementary setting. It's going to be 2 teachers teaching the same 2 groups of kids. If I'm the math and science teacher and Stacy's the language arts teachers, those kids are going to switch between 2 teachers. Right there. They're going to have a pod of 4 classrooms that will be together to allow them to do some other activities, some other planning. That also helps our structure for the day to move them. They are going to have other classes I'll get to in a minute. But we want parents to know that our goal is to keep them younger longer in a very positive way, but kind of push that envelope of what we can do as teachers so that we are a little more specialized from the academic end in a good way there. So this is the structure everyone asks about, is what does pods look like? What does that framework look like? Just from a reference point, you have math and science, and you have a language arts teachers teaching the reading and writing. So that's what I kind of explained with the 2 teachers. The red and the green are going to be partners. The blue and the black are going to be partners. The nice part, we're going to have 4 pods of 4, about 110 kids per pod. That means you got 4 teachers getting to know those 110 kids through different activities, but those 2 core ones, those kids can identify and know and trust and be with, which is exciting for us. This also allows us to work on some of our categories and work with our students. We are able to now create a special ed grouping, an ML group, in these different pieces where a lot of times our teachers right now at the elementary level are spread across several buildings and several grades. Because of our size, we're going to be able to bring in that 1, 2, or 3 teachers and have them within the building and work closely with 4 or 8 teachers rather than the 16. So that's a huge win for us with it. The one minor part there is all teachers will teach social studies across the board. This is something that has a minor change from what we had talked about earlier this year. We have spent an unbelievably good amount of time digging into our curriculum and reworking what we're doing, how we're doing it, and that just kept coming back up as something we needed to revisit there. So I got some more information to share, but I want to hit pause. Is this a good time for quick questions, or would you rather wait till the end? What would be easiest from your perspective? I want to make sure I
Keep going.
Keep going. Got it.
We like to just
I'm on a roll.
pop in when we have to.
So kids are going to have PE. We are adding additional PE time to our students twice a week for either 40 or 50 minutes. They're going to have 40 or 50 minutes for art, and we are in the process of proposing a STEAM class for our students, all 5th and 6th graders. It's in the works right now. We have a lot of work that we're doing with it, and we're bringing that proposal up here soon. STEAM is that science, technology, what's my E? Engineering, arts, and mathematics. So it's a great mix of some of those things that we felt like were missing from that hands-on component that this could potentially bring for us. From the music, this was another big win with our schedule.
Our fifth graders are now going to have music twice a week for 40 minutes. We are working with our fifth grade teacher. We're going to have one teacher teaching all our fifth grade sections and put together a new curriculum that we just got approval. Thank you for the GEF for guitars. And one of the things that we want to be able to do is teach our kids how to learn to read music using guitars and keyboards. So it'll be a much more of a hands-on experience with a bigger space. Our
No
sixth
more
grade.
recorders?
Oh, well,
We're leaving those.
I mean, they might show up, we don't know.
Okay, I just was asking.
No, they are using them actually in third and fourth grade.
Yes, so we're hoping it's a good adjustment to what we do.
The ukuleles are.
Elementary.
Ukulele, they're all involved still,
Yeah.
Yep, so, sixth grade, this is probably the biggest change from the music aspect. It's always been at a 0 hour, which means not every student attended. They just, it was their choice. So we averaged about 100, 110 students in sixth grade that didn't participate in music. We will be offering this during the school day now. Students will stay at our building. Our middle school and high school band, orchestra, and choir teachers will be coming to Oakstown to teach at the start of the day those sections in that piece. I will tell you, there are 6 of us, 5 of us locked in a room today. No cell phones, no emails, no nothing, to figure out scheduling, because sixth graders, there's probably 7 or 8 variables and layers that you have to work through to get to that point. And anyone who's been in band, I might have heard some references to that, knows there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes to getting kids in their instruments and where they need to be and need to be able to teach. So today was a huge milestone for us to make that next step there. But we're very excited. It's going to be during the school day. We are offering a general music class because we know some kids, those 3 are just not their thing. So we do have a general music class that will also be offered to make sure that we covered every end with it. So I'm pretty excited how that all shook out and how that's going there.
So real quick on that,
Yep.
so are the teachers, everybody's all happy with what we got going on with the music, the band, and the orchestra?
The band, orchestra, and choir teachers,
Yeah.
yes. I think one of the most amazing things about this process is we started working together probably 9, 10 months ago to work on all these different aspects and layers. And one of the things that kept coming out is they wanted to be involved with our sixth grade still. That was a priority. In year 1, we want to be involved. And we have been able to work with Adam and Ken at the middle school and high school a little bit, looking at schedules and how to make that work. And I can say today, I think we pulled it off, and it's going to shake itself out. And we know music is a big piece of our puzzle. We also know there's a lot of variables. We also know we're going to have to reevaluate as we go a little bit. So it was their priority to be working with our sixth graders and are running with it.
I think they're excited because, for one thing, we have more kids already. The numbers have already been
Yep.
a huge increase for their programs, which is good news. The kids can't just not show up
Yes.
if they're at
Yeah.
school, so they're not going to drop out that rate that they tend to have.
Yep.
When mom doesn't want to take them anymore, or they don't like the bus or whatever situation. So I think there's wins. Of course, it's changed and it's been hard for all of us, but I think there's a lot of wins, and I think they're
Yes.
seeing the fact that the numbers went up is great for their programs. So
I think the other part too that was a big win is it's 4 days a week for 30 minutes. No longer an A and B schedule every other Friday piece. It's 4 days a week where we got it consistent.
What happens with that Friday?
I don't know, one day that we don't.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to that in just a
Okay.
second here. So we have a plan. Yes,
Convinced.
it's shaking out there with that. So one part that we have been working on is spending a lot of time, and this week is another big milestone week where we're meeting with several groups for this, is working on that what I need time. We know we have kids that need some sort of intervention, some sort of services. We also have kids that need advancement, enrichment, acceleration. Each one of those pods that you saw of 110 students is going to have a 30-minute time where our 4 teachers, and we're going to bring 4 other adults, and we're able to take all 110 of those kids and for 6 weeks figure out what they need to be successful. For some, it could be, hey, it's, reading comprehension or vocab. For some, it could be, oh, this is a great time for our special ed resource room students to get their extra minutes. It could be a time where we go, you know what, we can push the envelope now. These kids have hit all these milestones. Let's come up with something different. And that's where we are really working hard to make sure that we are both ends of that spectrum, to push our kids and get that intervention at the same time. The nice part with this wind time will be that 30 minutes is in the schedule, just like an enrichment class. It's not something you can go, I don't want to do it today. It's there, it's 4 days a week for 30 minutes, locked into our schedule, so that we're able to work on both ends. So this week is another big week as far as planning goes to put those final details together that we're excited about.
So this advancement time, that's what we talked about, would probably be like the image.
Yep, a version of that, yes. Yep, to be able to push our kids in. We're doing it 6 weeks at a time, so it'll be 24 30-minute sessions, and then we can reevaluate and progress monitor and go, yep, we still need that works. This is where we can have that image-like projects, bring in those aspects that Mr. Anderson is already working hard to incorporate in.
So, based on that, and again, your goals, how are you going to assess, so parents are nervous.
Yep.
I hear from them every couple weeks. It's the same 12 that I hear from, but they're still nervous because they don't necessarily, you're saying, trust us. They want to experience it and then they'll trust, right?
We get it.
So how are you going to communicate with parents with regard to the assessment of the win for their student?
Yep, so we're going to run it 6 weeks at a time. So that gives us a chance to progress monitor not only how our students are doing from the academic end and having those assessment pieces in there. We want to be able to run a 6 week of 6 weeks and then get feedback from parents. I think that's a part to go, what does that look like? And that's going to put us right in that November, December time, because going into the second half of the year, we can make adjustments based on what we've learned and what we know and what we can do better.
I think that's excellent, because it's that fear, right? So let's mitigate the fear, because then you'll have a partner faster than not.
And then we actually did work it out so that conferences fall right after our first 6 week session kind of finishes up.
Smart.
So that'll be, we'll be able to communicate this is where we're at, this is what's working, and get their feedback as well. So.
Cool, thank you.
And that goes back to the beginning. We built frameworks for everything so we can shift left and right, up and down as things come up and what we learn and what we know. Like I said, we're building everything from scratch. So we're going to have some misses, but this allows us to easily adapt. Go. So Students Day, we're going to average about 290 minutes per day for academics. They're going to get those enrichments that we talked about with those minutes and time and that win time. It really shakes out pretty well for a good mix, so the kids will get not only block schedule time that I'm going to show you here in just a second, but time to work, but then those extras that they need every day with it there. So this is a sample. What I really want you to look at is, if I looked at a 5th grade, look at that blue right at the top. One of the things that we are going to be able to do now is create that enrichment class at the same time every day for those 4 teachers on that pod. That means the 4 kids too. So that would be going to PE twice that week. That would be going to art. It would be those things. And then music would come in later in the day as a nice breakup. From the academic end, we look at that and go, there's a 70-minute block for content, a 70-minute block for content, and a 145-minute block for content. This gives our teaching pairs a lot of time and that freedom to adjust and work together to do that switch. It will not be a bell schedule like an hourly schedule. This is meant for the kids and the teachers to have that. With 5th grade, because they have music twice a week, they have 2 days a week where they're going to have extended time. This is also that time where they can do some of those science projects, go outside and test in Buck Creek if they want for science, because that's what makes sense. It gives them the options to do some things they couldn't do before.
I will tell you, I was a block teacher in high school, and I was able to do so many more cool projects. So can you tell us a little bit about the outdoor classroom, or is that coming next?
So the outdoor classroom that's part of that grant. That's probably another year or 2 out from being fully implemented. I know Kayla wants to come up with the stumps to create that at least small area to start with. We don't know. That one's been a new one for us that's coming down the pipeline to go, okay, what do we do with that? Our goal is, when you look at this building, it's an old high school and middle school. We have a lot of big group areas that are amazing. Our teachers have never had that. At their elementary schools, their gym is often the cafeteria. Their library is used 5 days a week. We have areas where they're going to be able to go and use that. And that's what our curriculum groups have started going through, is to go, okay, this makes sense, I can do this. I've always wanted to do that. Oh, I have the area I need now to do that. So it's getting there. It's getting there. So 6th grade, big difference there is just look at the green and the blue. Those are common playing times, but all those kids in that pod are going to their enrichment class at the exact same time. Our movement's going to travel like that. That's going to help out a ton.
It's a huge win in terms of like teachers having time to plan together. I mean, we don't have that at the elementary level. There's never a time, you're always out except for lunch. And so just the ability, and even lunch feels short, you know, so they're gonna have a 40-minute chunk where they aren't trying to eat lunch and do everything else, where they can sit down and really use their time well and just work together. And the fact that they're all together, the reduction of their planning time is already, it's almost like they're winning more planning time because they're not all going to be making the exact same copy. They can run all that together and then spend their time more wisely actually looking at data, looking at things to improve their lessons, so, and collaborating. So it'll be really, it's a huge win.
And with that pod of 4 teachers, if I'm the math science, I'm going to have another math science teacher to be able to talk to during that same time. And there'll be 8 of them in the grade level that are math science, so they're going to be able to have those communications throughout and work from there. So coming back to the Wednesdays, we have worked on Wednesdays. There are not enrichment classes. They're not the band, orchestra, and choir. We will not have those. Those are designed for us to be able to do those things that are often barriers, assemblies, where we don't have to worry about canceling, changing, moving schedules, guest speakers, field trips, community-based instruction. We have a house system that we're putting in place that we'll talk about in a minute. It allows us time to do some of those things. It allows us time to do amazing shake lessons, which kind of intertwines with a lot of different areas in what we're doing with our programming. It also gives a teacher to go, you know what, we have nothing going on. We got 200 straight minutes. What can we do that in the project room that I can schedule it out, we can go be in there, spread out, do some of those things. So excited about where that's going and what that looks like. So that's the Wednesday difference there. Lunch and recess, this is another one of our changes from the elementary piece. It's going to be 35 minutes. We know our 5th and 6th graders, they fall into 2 categories. They eat in 10 minutes and want to get outside. They're going to have that ability to do that. Or they eat in 25 minutes because they want to talk the whole time. They have the ability to do that. So we're rating that first 10, 15 minutes, you got to eat. We want to make sure I can tell your parents you had time to eat, and then go outside on the Ninja Warrior and jump off something and be awesome. And come back in. We are also overlapping our 5th grade and our 6th grade lunches. So if a student did have this best friend from Cummings that is they don't see, the lunches are going to overlap for about 10 to 15 minutes right in there. So they're going to still be able to cross connect. We also have that lounge entry area. Kids can also go out there during that time to go. Some kids just don't want to go outside. Well, you can go sit and hang out and play a board game, talk, read, or some days I'm in the same category, just need to be left alone for 15 minutes and reset myself. And a lot of our kids like to be able to do that too. So we think the common area is going to be a good place. The playground's going to be a good place, and the lunchroom can accommodate and work from there. The other big one from the lunch piece is no more ordering 1 of 2 lunches in the morning. Our food service has already said we have this beautiful kitchen. We're going to offer 5 choices, and the kid's going to pick when they show up. So, well,
We're
probably
very excited about
yes.
that.
Probably 3 hot ones, 2 cold ones. That could be a wrap, could be a salad. We're not going to have a snack bar to start. I've already told parents, if you want to know what your kid's eating, check Meal Magic. That'll tell you a lot more than I can because they have to register every meal through there. So good thing with that. We're very excited about that and what we can offer from the lunchroom. Transportation, email transportation is what that comes down to. But from a busing aspect, some of our rules do change because we're in the center with that, but the same rules that apply for busing across the district will apply here. Library is getting a full makeover. That's place has been gutted right now and getting new furniture, new shelves, a new kiosk, new entryway. You approved additional 4,000 books here for this year that we can get that are good for our 5th and 6th graders. We're also taking about 4,000 books out of our elementaries that are now don't belong there and can come to us and be there. So we're very excited about that project and what Katie Lawrence is doing to help us house system is a big piece of what we think we can do with our connection point, and that's where Stacy's going to run.
So you might be familiar, we have the house system at West Elementary. That's been 6 years, we think, ish. So we knew when we left West that the house system was a huge piece of the connection that we knew we knew with 2 years, you have to find a way to help kids connect quickly. It's not a long time. It's not the elementary where they were there for 7 years. So the house system is essentially just the students and staff, everybody in the building will be sorted into one of 4 houses. Those are on the bottom. The first one's the best one. Oh no, Roger. It's a busy. You win. All right, so the cool part about the way we explain it sometimes to parents is it's kind of like Harry Potter, but it's really not that much like Harry Potter. It's actually more like, it's kind of that way, but even the fraternity idea of kids having something they really belong to. So they feel connected to the leaders of it. They feel connected to each other. When you saw the picture of the pods, you saw 4 colors. So when they're in a pod, one of the teachers will be for their house, one will be for the other 3 houses. They won't be sorted by a class. So in other words, I'm not gonna have a whole class of River, right? I'll have a whole mix. But the pod will have an adult for each kid to connect with that might not be their classroom teacher. Then throughout the school, they'll have house meetings, they'll have family meetings. Really what we found at West, and I am very confident that it will do it very well here, is that it's just a really good way for kids to get to be leaders. They get to rise up, they get to, we put them in charge. It's not the teachers running everything. The kids kind of decide what fits their house, what they want to celebrate with, how they want to celebrate. They take ownership for all of it. And then the cool part is it passes on. So our first classes are going to create a legacy that will keep going because our 5th graders will become the 6th graders they'll teach. So it'll keep going. We're super excited about it. It is a national, it's global. There's schools all over the country and the world that use them, which is super cool because you can be somewhere else and you're like, see the shirt and you're like, oh, you're in my house. So like, it's kind of like that. It's bigger than us. It's kind of an opportunity for the kids to see that it's bigger than you, but you belong to this huge family. So we're super excited about that. It's a great way for parents to connect too. So we can have house events at night. Like our school is huge, but for us to have a house bingo night, parents can come to that and meet other parents. So I think parents are nervous because they've been part of an elementary, right? And now they're gonna come to this big school. And I know when my kids moved up to middle school, you really feel like you tie with your kids' club or team, but you don't really connect in the building with other families. So it's a great way for us to do that for families too.
I think our adults on that same moment, like my best example is we're getting 3 new people working in the surgery in our lunchroom. And I talked to them about the house system. They're like, do we get to be on? I'm like, we have to be. And they're like, oh good, I want this and we're gonna do this. And you know, I think one day a week we're gonna celebrate this. And I'm like, oh, all right, run with it. Because it gives you that avenue as a staff member to do something beyond just what you do in the classroom. And that's where we saw the biggest engagement piece at West was it was 50-50 with students and staff members. It also connects to our PBS system and what we're doing there. So one of our goals is to intertwine as much as we can, and this brings several different layers together at once.
Yeah, we like to refer to the house system as like the big umbrella because so many things fit under it, and there's so many ways that teachers can use house things to motivate their students within the class. Like it does tie to PBIS, but even getting kids excited to cheer for each other in class. So an example would be a student gets the answer right, and the kids all know, every kid in the class knows which house they're in, and they will do the quick cheer like, you know, if it's Bindi, they'll say B-I-N-D-I, whether it's their house or not. So that's something that's really important to us too, is we're not just teaching the kids about being on a team and competing, we're teaching them about it's 4 houses, 1 family. So we're still cheering for each other, we're still wanting everyone to improve. You want people to earn house points whether they're in your house or not. With PBIS, one thing we like about the house system is PBIS, the kids earn tickets and it's about them really, right? So they might get their name drawn or whatever. And it's a great thing, we love PBIS. But the advantage of using PBIS with the house system is it's about more than you. So when you get a point, you're helping your whole house. Like it's more than just you did something great. Oh, you did that, we all get a point. Like, so it's a bigger celebration. And then it's just a great way to motivate kids because they love competing. Even when I'm not super competitive, but I can get on board with this all day long. So it has really, we saw it at West. It helped them
connect beyond themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. That umbrella piece is this allows us to pull those entities together using one umbrella rather than one us all working on one. So I think another big focus for us is just that engagement piece and working with our teachers this year. We've gotten to be into 7 different buildings and getting to know our teachers and our students and starting to work on what do our students need at this grade level and how can we make that one of our focuses. And that's been a byproduct of everything we've been doing. And we're excited to get in the building to really get our hands and get into this more than what we can do at the moment.
So that movement is a huge piece of it, and that's part of the house system, but really we're trying to teach and model, like when Brian and I go into buildings, we try to model like getting our kids moving. Mr. Undergym and I talk about, can't leave the kids in these chairs for very long, right? So it's just so important for our kids to still be engaged. And I think 5th and 6th graders, when they've been in the K-6, as they get older, they start to feel a little bit like, I don't fit here anymore. I've been here a long time. I was in a different district today at 6th grade, and they looked exactly like our 6th graders. I was like, oh, yep. And they, it's just so good for us to be able to look at our 5th and 6th graders and do things for their age group instead of trying to squeeze them into the K-6 mold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Amazing Shake. I think you all are familiar with it at this point. We do have just exciting things to share, but so the Amazing Shake was a huge hit this year. All 840-ish kids participated in the initial prelim competition, and then we took the top 135 to 40 kids, and they went to the middle school and did the gauntlet, and then we took our top 20 and they did another competition, and then our top 10 students got to go to Notre Dame Prep Academy in Pontiac. They competed, they did an amazing job. Their eyes got real wide when they saw that in the competition there were 7th and 8th graders, and they're like, what? And then of course now they're like, well, we want to do it again. They loved it, but it was such an incredible opportunity for them to interact with kids from all around the state. They loved it, they got in little groups and they met people, and then our winner, Allie, got to go to Atlanta to compete in the Global. She did an amazing job. It was phenomenal to see her competing with 350 kids from around the world. It was crazy. But
our business connections and people are the ones who sponsored and made that
yes,
happen for us. So
we had donors
we
who
can't
helped.
thank the businesses enough for what they've done and continuing that support. So
yeah, and I think that's the exciting part of the Amazing Shake is businesses are just constantly saying, well, we want to do that. We want to get more involved in your school. And we didn't ask them for anything other than an hour of their time. And so it's been a great way to connect. And now they're coming up with ideas. They're emailing me like, I have an idea for a gauntlet station next year that would fit my business. And I mean, what a perfect way for our kids to connect with the community, to see what real jobs are in our community. So it's been an amazing
and have to use those
adventure.
real
skills.
with real people. That's how I interact. That's how we do this. So we're excited about having it in one building next year and under one roof and much more organized, and look for that in October and November, much earlier in the year, because snow is no fun to deal with. So.
Yeah, we are hosting the regional.
Yes.
So we will host in February, end of February, we'll be hosting the regional. So we'll probably have schools from Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio who are coming to us to compete. So
cool. Yeah. Very exciting. So last thing, this is more for parents as we are working on. We've got probably about 200 picture frames donated. We're working on getting pictures of kids, and one of our goals is to get as many pictures of our current 4th and 5th graders up on the wall before they walk in the building, so that they know the building is theirs, and then continue to replace as we go with that. So that's a little pet project side.
this is a little like picture of what we envision. So obviously we don't have that high tall wall, but the idea of our kids walking in and seeing their faces and their friends' faces, like this is my school, like I belong here. So between that and the houses, we feel like we can turn that school into a 5th, 6th grade building. It won't look like a high school anymore.
We hope not.
We hope.
Good. I think that kind of brings it to the end. We are online in a few different areas, trying to create a little presence there and connect with parents in different ways. That wraps up presentation. Any questions or anything that I can help out with?
First, like, what an amazing year you executed in putting everything together. So major kudos. This is a really comprehensive plan and very thoughtful and developmentally appropriate. And I think something that will really expand in both directions.
Yeah.
You know, everyone will want a piece of what you're putting into that building. So I'm really excited to see what's coming with it.
Those 8 goals that we shared at the beginning are what have been driving our work and our setup and our structure. And thankfully those were the right ones.
Yeah.
Because they've led us down this path and had no choice. So.
Yeah. I do have a couple of questions. I love that you're kind of balancing the elementary feel with also where they're at in developmental growth as young adolescents. And I noticed, you know, I'm not concerned about the transportation. I know our department has that under control with moving younger and older students in bus systems. But the 2:35 dismissal time, has there been any feedback from parents about whether that fits well with children, or are there any other options if they don't feel ready to allow their child to be home alone at 2:35?
Yeah, I've met with the YMCA. They do have an after-school program. They're looking at what those options can be and what they can offer through there. It does get a little bit harder with the 5th and 6th graders when we look at other programs like Treehouse and pieces like that. So we are actively trying to support and help out, but have not had a lot of initial feedback.
Is that something that, I mean, if the call is there, that we might look at in-house through community ed or something at our buildings?
So there's one part we are hosting community ed there. They will
Okay.
move into our building. We're working closely with Lisa.
Okay.
What that looks like. As far as an everyday daycare, that's a little harder to manage from that perspective.
Yeah.
But the YMCA is already well aware of what we're doing in their impact program and working on what their licensing looks like to accommodate more kids.
Fantastic. Next question here, the social studies. It was mentioned. How does that look when every teacher is teaching that? Do any of our teachers need additional instruction on that? I know some buildings have potted social studies, so I'm just curious about how they'll be prepared to teach it if they had not been teaching it individually before.
Yep. So we have a curriculum group with each core curriculum area that's been meeting over the course of the year, and one of their goals of social studies is to work through that curriculum so that anyone can walk in and use it. And we're working closely with Scott to figure out how we can make that instruction piece. I guess the focus that we've looked at is if a new teacher walks in, how are they supported? And that's guided all of our instruction planning to go, okay, here's what a new teacher would need, here's what I know what I'm going, and here's a master teacher. So we can work our way up with that. We feel like we got a good plan for that. The reality is a lot of our elementary teachers at 5th and 6th grade have been teaching it. So it's not much of a change. There'll be very few that will get anything for it.
Fantastic. The band, the music, what is general music? Can you tell us more about that?
Yep, so we have just created an outline for that. General music is in development right now. It's going to be a mix of those performing arts a little bit, but it's not going to be the instrument or singing that you would see in band or choir, but they would have projects that they were creating from an instrumental. They would also do some research into what makes music or different genres popular, what makes it that piece. And then we also have a technology piece that we're working on to add digital music to go, well, a lot of our kids can create music digitally through their Chromebook, and that might be the avenue for that kid. What we want to make sure is that they get exposure to the arts and music and are able to perform still like our band, orchestra, and choir kids are doing. It just might look different. So that one's in the works right now. A big piece of that was finding out how many kids are going to choose it. And we're in a good spot now where we can really dive into our curriculum.
That's awesome. And with the band piece, it sounds like you guys had quite a fun day together, planning it all out. Moving from early morning to within the school day, does that put any crimps on staffing in terms of getting from building to building?
So we've worked with the middle school and the high school to overlap that. A good example is orchestra. Sarah Good is going to come down for 2 hours and cover all of our orchestra sections. Our band, the 2 from the middle school are going to come for an hour, and 2 from the high school are going to come for an hour. So they're breaking it up, and we're working on those logistics with that travel time and that piece. But right now, it looks like we're going to be pretty darn good.
Okay, awesome. That's all my questions.
Sounds like you guys thought of everything.
Did.
I have a concern about the lunch period, the overlapping. It's been a long time since I've been in there. I'm assuming the cafeteria is much larger.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Because I can't envision 400 students in it at the same
there
time
won't.
for 10, 15 minutes.
So, do you remember after 15 minutes, the majority of our kids are going to go outside of that lounge area? It was built for the middle school, so they were built off 3 lunches, about 350 kids.
Yeah.
For us, the way it'll structure, our overlaps will be good.
Okay.
With that. The good news is we can serve almost 110 kids in 5 minutes. And that's what we average is about 50% eating lunch right now. Out of 220 kids, about 50% of those would get a hot lunch. Our server can knock them out, get them through, make sure that they have time to eat, and go from there.
So you're confident?
It is something we're watching closely. I will tell you from a framework, we're going, okay, we can adjust by 5 minutes. Left or right to create more time if we need be, or create a gap. But it's, right now, we gotta see movement.
And is there staff outside?
Yes, we
during
will
the
have two.
lunchtime? How many,
Yes.
how
I'm
many
planning
people are out there?
2 recessed people out there, and that'd be modeled very similar to what our elementaries do.
Okay.
Yep, and then we got 2 people in the lunchroom as monitors also.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, just a fantastic job, right? I mean, we just did this move to a middle school not too long ago, right? And that was very simplistic in comparison to what you guys are doing, right? I mean, that was picking up from one building and moving to another building, right? A little more complex than that, but, you know, it was simple compared to what you guys are doing, which is, I don't want to say recreating the wheel, but you really kind of are, right? I mean, you know, the 5th, 6th grade model had been this, and now we're changing it to something new. And the amount of thought and you guys have put into this and the work, I mean, is just phenomenal, right? Everything from the music, you know, reimagining the music and how that looks, to, you know, recesses, to everything. And I gotta say, I love the fact that, you know, you asked the kids and they wanted the swing still, right? Because this the whole purpose behind this whole, or I shouldn't say the whole purpose, one of the big purposes is 5th and 6th graders, they were kind of done with the things that are happening at the elementary, right? But there's still a little piece of them.
They're still crazy parts.
Exactly, right? I mean, heck, you look at, you know, kids in high school, they still jump on the swings right if they're at a playground, right? I mean, heck, I still do. What the heck am I talking about? So, I mean, so it's great to see that there's still those pieces there in that thought. So I appreciate that. But I'll say, you know, my one question, I guess, for you guys right now is, what is your concern? What's keeping you up at night that you haven't thought of that you're not sure?
837 kids showing up. You know, I think what's helped a lot is Roger gave us one simple question is ask why we do the way we do things now. And do that with each entity and then get with that group and meet with them and talk and find out the why behind it. What do we know, what don't we know? Go see some of our local 5th and 6th grade buildings, why and what and how they do it. And try and figure out what fits Grandville best. What keeps me up at night? There's a lot. Because so much of it is in that theoretical framework. And as we're seeing pieces come together over the last couple of weeks and a couple more this week, I can see it lining up. But it all keeps me up, I guess. And each takes a turn. How about that?
Yeah.
But it's just making sure that we've asked all the right questions and we've covered our bases, and we're going to overlook something and know it.
Yeah.
But to know that once we do, we react in the appropriate way to go. What's best for kids?
Yeah. Well, it's a great mindset, right? Because yes, it's new to us. It's something we've never seen before, something we never knew before. But there is history. There's other school districts that have been doing this for a long time, right? So take as much knowledge as you can and prepare as best you can, and just be ready to react if there's something that pops up, right? So nice job.
Thank you.
Nice presentation, guys.
Thank you. So
No questions.
I already gave you all my questions.
All right.
We give them only so many tickets.
No, Stacy would know. Trust me. I can imagine the conversation. What do you think you're going to ask tonight?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
As they're leaving, I just like to applaud them. They really have.
All right. No other items. We're going to move on to public comment. I've got 2 forms right now. Got Crystal Holdren. Come on up, state your name, address. Just your name and address.
Okay,
yes.
my name is Crystal Holdren.
Hi.
My address is 63 Chappelle, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49534. I actually keep my kids in Grandville when they would be Coopersville, because I went to Grandville myself, and I loved Grandville, and I think it shaped who I became. I think that if my kids would have went to Coopersville, actually, I don't think they would have had enough be given to them as options. So I continued to let them go to Grandville because of that.
Great.
So I kind of want to talk about, I do want to talk about the band issue with, the concern as a parent. And actually, I'm going to start with a letter from my son, who is a current band student. And I myself am a former band student as well from Grandville. And my son, my son's name is Andrew. He is a freshman this year. And he says, I really believe that this school should hire another band director. Coming from a band student perspective, I know that every minute I get to talk to my band directors counts, especially when it came to my first year playing. I had tons of questions, and I'm sure the new band students with as well. I do want to mention my son was part of the group that did not get 6th grade band. Mm-hmm. So then he also did not get 7th grade jazz. So it was a step behind and they're doing wonderful though, thankfully. He says the more time the students get to ask questions, the better they can become. Learning to play an instrument is the hardest part of playing an instrument. If you can't learn it effectively, then you can't play it effectively. Just like any other class, the teacher is there to help. If the teacher has to jump around to classes really fast, then the students won't have time to ask for help when they need it. Band teaches more than just music and playing an instrument. It teaches dedication, patience, and how to have a healthy competition. Playing an instrument and being able to do so with the help of my band director proves to me 100% that I can be successful. The new band students need that same experience just as much as I did. Not only is band a rewarding experience, it's also a fun thing to do. Grandville has an amazing band program, and to keep up with that reputation, we need another band director. Sincerely, Andrew Vanderwide, 9th grade band student. Now, from the parent perspective, I agree with everything that he said. I would like to also throw in, though, that my worry is 0 hour. My son is currently a 9th grade student, and as he said, he's in Jazz Band 1, which that's the higher level of jazz band. He adores it. I might cry, so I have to just tell you. My daughter, the last couple of years, me and my soon-to-be ex-husband have been going through a lot of turmoil, and it's been detrimental to our children. My daughter didn't have music. She chose to, after 10th grade, to quit choir because she was not a fan of the choir teacher then. And I think if she would have been able to continue, it would have helped her get through this. My son said band is the only thing that helped him get through, being able to understand and know that there's something that could push him through. He was also very quiet and reserved and wouldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't get him to go into the store to get anything. But since band, it's made him more competitive, and now he wants people to hear him. He wants people to, he wants to be better than other students just because it's opened him up so much more. And he started putting holes in the walls all the time and getting so angry, and that is not there anymore because band is doing this to him. My son also knows 100% that he's going to be a band director, and without band, that wouldn't be an option for him. He would have never thought to be a band director. 0 hour for him he was just part of the Winter Winds. And like I said, Jazz Band 1. Currently, one of the middle school teachers is also a 0 hour band director. So therefore, they would only have 5 minutes, about 5 to 8 minutes to get from the high school or middle school to Oakstown in order to do first hour. I think that is absolutely ridiculous.
1 minute left.
Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. They didn't ever tell me anything about this, so I didn't know. I apologize. Yeah, they didn't, now I've got my brain fudged because you said that. But yeah, they're not, I don't think that's gonna be enough time for them, especially for Mr. Garcia. He likes to have time to be able to go and say, okay, what happened with 0 hour, and then the students won't even be able to talk to him after class. So I just wanted to kind of mention that aspect. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ann McCarthy.
Good evening. I'm also here to advocate for the hiring of a 5th band director. So I think it is fabulous that we now have 6th grade band 4 days a week. It is only going to strengthen our already fantastic band program. And I want to fully trust Mr. Mulder when he says all the logistics are worked out. So I'm going to go past the logistics of getting from building to building and just advocate for our 4 amazing band directors, because my biggest concern is stretching them too thin. We have over 600 students involved in Grandville bands. We offer 2 concert bands, symphonic winds, 2 jazz bands, and our winter marching band, winter winds. In addition to that, this year we did the MMC concert at DeVos Place. They do the festival, multiple festivals every year. I have 2 kids in high school band, 1 kid in middle school band, and I am amazed at how many of my weekends revolve around band. We don't do sports, we do band every weekend. So it's amazing. And these instructors, we spent 16 hours with Mr. Garcia yesterday with Winter Winds. He is an amazing individual, the way he inspires our kids, the way he raises our kids up. Yesterday we're sitting at the competition at Eastern Michigan and we're watching all these drum lines and wind ensembles coming through, and they all have parents moving their equipment, folding up these mats, carrying the mats off. Grandville, it's the students. Our students load the trailer, our students unload the trailer, they do everything, and it's because of Mr. Garcia and Mr. Huber. These kids are top-notch. They don't misbehave in public, they represent Grandville to the highest level, and it's because of our band directors. And it's not only how well we perform when we perform, but it's the talking that happens about our bands in the hallways. So after our MMPC performance, band directors from all over the state saying how we have one of the best bands in the state, if not the best band at that time. Yesterday at the Winter Winds performance, I heard a rumor that one of the judges pulled Mr. Garcia aside and said, why are you guys not going to nationals? Because you would compete for first place. That is the caliber of our band, and we have to respect our band directors and assist them in all that they do for our students by giving them a 5th person. The other benefit is if we had a 6th grade band director who could also work maybe with the marching band, or they could assist, with some of the jazz bands or things like that, it would provide continuity for the students. And if a 6th grader then sees that director in middle school and knows they will see them in high school, it'll be a familiar face that will carry them through the band journey and hopefully retain these students as they go into middle school. And again, I'm just going to give a shout out to our band kids, because I think last time I spoke about band, I talked about how well we did at the district solo ensemble festivals, but since then we've had some other honors for our band students I want to point out. At the state solo ensemble festival, we had 18 performances, 16 got a rating of a 1, and the other 2 got a rating of a 2, which is amazing. We had the saxophone ensemble, a percussion ensemble, and one of our brass students get nominated for an honors band performance that happens in May at Western Michigan University. We had 3 students who were selected to compete in an outstanding soloist competition, which was about 70 kids from the entire state at Eastern Michigan over spring break. So it was an amazing performance. I also want to shout out our Winter Guard performance. They finished 4th in the state, and their improvement over the last few years has been phenomenal. So shout out to our Guard that is part of our band. So that's it. I just really appreciate our bands. I really want to support our band directors, and please consider maybe not waiting a full year to get that 5th director, but reassessing things sooner. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comment section. We will now go into closed session for purposes of conducting the superintendent's self-evaluation.
We need a motion.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
We need to vote on it.
Oh, we have to vote? I thought we voted after for some reason. Okay, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed?